Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Young Muslim Readers channel. Today I'll be reading a story about Prophet Ishaaq alayhi salam. One day when Ibrahim alayhi salam was sitting thinking about all the things Allah had given him, 3 angels came to him. Ibrahim alayhi salam didn't know they were angels. He asked them to come into his house and be his guests and have some food. But angels don't eat. So when they didn't eat, Ibrahim alayhi salam started getting worried. He thought they might be people who want to hurt him. Then the angels told him not to worry. They told him there were angels who had come to tell him and his wife that they will be having a baby, Ishaq alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam and his wife were shocked because they were now both old, and old people don't usually have babies. But Allah can do anything and give any blessing to whoever He wants. When Ishaq alayhi salam grew up, he had a son of his own called Yaqub or Jacob. Yaqub alayhi salam also became a prophet, and we'll hear about him in the story of Yusuf. Why don't angels eat? When do they sleep? Wow, what are angels made of? Make sure to leave your answers in the description box below. Now we're going to read the story of Yusuf, Joseph, and Yaqub, Jacob alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam was Yaqub alayhi salam's son. He had 11 brothers. Yusuf alayhi salam was very handsome and strong, and he had very good manners. So did his brother, Binyamin or Benjamin alayhi salam. Because they were such good boys, their father loved them. Perhaps he loved them a teeny-weeny bit more than the other brothers. The other brothers were all very jealous indeed. One day, Yusuf alayhi salam ran to his father to tell him about a dream he had. He said, "Oh father, in my dream 11 stars, the sun and the moon were bowing down to me." His father was very happy to hear this because he knew it must mean that Yusuf alayhi salam would become a prophet, just like he was and his father was. But he told him not to tell his brothers because they'll be very, very jealous. Now, even though the brothers didn't know about the special dream, they were still very jealous and were making plans to kill Yusuf alayhi salam. One of the brothers said, "Let's just throw him in the well instead, then somebody will take him away." They were silly enough to think that they could do something so bad, then become good, and it'll all be okay. So, the brothers asked their father if he would allow Yusuf alayhi salam to go out with them to have fun and play. The father said he didn't want Yusuf alayhi salam to go because he was afraid a wolf might get him if they didn't take care of him. But they begged him to let him go and said that they were strong, so nothing could happen to Yusuf alayhi salam while he was with them. Finally, the father agreed and off they all went. Yusuf alayhi salam went with his brothers, but they had planned to get rid of him. They grabbed him and threw him into the well. Then they took his shirt, put some sheep blood on it, and told their father that a wolf actually had eaten their brother while they were busy racing. Poor Yaqub alayhi salam was ever so sad that his lovely son was gone. He didn't believe the brothers and he knew that his son must be alive. He prayed to Allah for comfort. In the well, Allah made Yusuf alayhi salam feel better and gave him some hope. Some men with camels and horses were traveling to Egypt. On the way, they stopped at the well that Yusuf alayhi salam was in to get some water. Of course, they didn't know there was a young man in a well, so they were very surprised to find him, Yusuf alayhi salam. They wanted to sell him as a slave, which is a person who does all the hard work for someone else with no pay. They locked him up and took him with them. In Egypt, a very important man brought Yusuf alayhi salam, took off his chains and kept him well. Yusuf alayhi salam was amazed that a while ago he was in a well and he didn't even know if he would stay alive, and now he was in a palace with comfort and food. He was grateful to Allah. His master saw that Yusuf alayhi salam was honest, with good manners and charm, and someone who always did what he was told. That's why he made him in charge of his house. People all over town heard of Yusuf. He was the most handsome man anyone had ever seen. But things didn't stay good, because the lady of the house became absolutely crazy about Yusuf alayhi salam, and she tried to make him do something which was not allowed. When other women heard about this, they made fun of the lady of the house. So she invited them to her house, and while they were cutting fruit, she asked Yusuf alayhi salam to walk in. The ladies couldn't believe how beautiful he was. They forgot they were cutting fruit and they cut their hands instead. They said that he must be an angel instead of a human. The ladies still wanted him to do something that was not allowed, but Yusuf alayhi salam said he definitely wouldn't ever do anything that Allah doesn't like. So she had him thrown into prison. In prison, Yusuf alayhi salam was given a gift from Allah. He could tell people their dreams, what their dreams mean, which is handy because some dreams can come true. One of the king's servants was in prison too, and Yusuf alayhi salam told him that his dreams means that he will work for the king again. He told the king's servant to let the king know that a man who hasn't done anything wrong is in prison. He hoped the king will help. But the king's servant forgot for a few years. What a forgetful head he was. Then one day the king had a strange dream. He dreamt that 7 skinny cows were eating 7 fat cows and other funny things. Nobody knew what it meant, but then the servant remembered Yusuf alayhi salam, and the king sent for him to go and ask about the dream. Yusuf said that the dream was all about how much food the people would be able to grow over the years. The king was so happy that he took Yusuf alayhi salam out of prison and found proof that he had done nothing wrong. What's more, the king gave Yusuf alayhi salam a very, very important job. Then came a time when people could not grow food because the earth was too dry, but Yusuf alayhi salam had saved a huge amount of food for when the land was not dry. He told the king that they should sell the food to people from other places who needed it. And guess who turned up to buy some? Yes, it was Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers who had thrown him into the well. All of the brothers had come except Binyamin alayhi salam. They didn't recognize Yusuf alayhi salam, but he sure did recognize them. He didn't tell them who he was and asked them to come back with Binyamin alayhi salam. Then he secretly put the money they had paid back into the food bags. When the brothers got back, they asked their father to let them take Binyamin alayhi salam to Egypt. When they saw that the money had been given back, they comforted their father that the important man in Egypt wouldn't harm them. He had even returned their money. So their father let them take him. When Yusuf alayhi salam saw his brother, he told him secretly that he was his long-lost brother Yusuf alayhi salam. They were both so happy that they hugged and cried. Then Yusuf made it look as if Binyamin stole the king's golden cup. He did that so he could pretend he's punishing him and keep him with him. When the brothers went back without Binyamin, their father was very, very sad. So sad that his eyes stopped working. He prayed to Allah and he asked his sons to please go and find both Binyamin and Yusuf. The brothers went back to Egypt and begged the important man, the chief minister, who they didn't know was their brother Yusuf alayhi salam, for more food, even though they didn't have much money. Yusuf alayhi salam then told them who he was. They were amazed and scared, but Yusuf alayhi salam forgave them, and they all hugged. Then he asked them to bring his whole family to him, and he asked them to take his shirt to their father and put it over his head because it will make his eyes all better. He was right. It made Yaqub alayhi salam's eyes better and made him so happy that his sons were safe and alive. When the whole family got to Egypt, they all bowed down to Yusuf alayhi salam. It was just what his dream in the beginning had shown him, with 11 stars, the sun and the moon bowing down to him. After that, they all lived happily in Egypt together. Question time. Why were Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers so mean to him? Was going to prison all part of Allah's plan? Make sure to leave your answers in the comment section below. That's all from me today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.